Train Time viewers, we're live here in downtown Suffolk featuring these two bright feature NS Sd40-2s, 3200 series. These are possibly ex-Conrail. Take a look at this thing. 3,000 horsepower. The EMD bell. 2 to 3,000 gallon fuel tank. Up here is the prime mover. And here are the 6-wheel axle trucks. And here's the rear of the engine. And here's one of its sisters, 3286. This is a 3,000 horsepower engine. The Iron Horse of America is what the nickname is for these engines. These were built in about 1972 or 3, and they were produced until 1989. Burlington Northern purchased the newer versions of the SD40-2s. NS has not rebuilt these engines. These have been in service for over 30 years, and they still look great. These are possibly ex-Conrails according to the number. 3407 is an ex-Conrail. So is 3411. So now, take the camera, we'll just walk down here to 3286. Shutters on the windows look a lot different than I'm used to seeing. The very front of the engine. There are the ditch lights. See, these were a later production of the SD40-2. There's the very front of the train. That's the snowplow, which pushes all the snow off the track. See, here you've got the brake cylinder, which pushes the air throughout this pipeline, which slows the train down. Here's the 3,000 to 4,000 gallon fuel tank. I think that's how much it is. And here is the emergency fuel shutoff valve, which if you shoot a buck round shot, it will automatically, if you hit it, it will drain all the fuel out of the locomotive and also letting the train to stop. Here are the rear of the two engines. There's the end of 3286. There's one of the ditch lights that says use only 75-volt lamps. That is the specification of the light that NS is required to use. Note, this is the horsehead scheme. And these are the switching engines here at the yard office. They use these engines for local switching. And most of the time the big boys come through here hauling coal, manifest, and intermodal. Move back just a little bit so you can look at the underside of the engine here. Right inside this cabinet here is an engine, 20 cylinders approximately, 20 cylinders in there. And then right back in here somewhere is the big generator, which generates the electricity. So this is why it's called a diesel electric engine. The generator provides the power, which turns wheels, which generates electricity, and then provides the power down here to turn the wheels. Come on over here, I'll show you what's back here. Back in the back is a huge air compressor. The air compressor generates all sorts of air pressure on all the cars that's being pulled, in which when it's applied in the engine, which when he applies that brake, it allows the air compressor to release the air pressure going through the brake cylinder and all the way back throughout the train, slowing the train down. Another device you might know about is that sometimes these wheels slip. And right down in here is the sander, which squirts sand under the track and creates a little bit, it creates less friction to get up steep hills. These SD40-2s are very common on Norfolk Southern. CSX is rebuilding about 100 of these engines into the SD40-3s that we caught back in December. We caught one of them. NS is being rebuilt in the SD50s to the SD40Es, mostly ex-Conrails. So there's the end of 3286. And here's all sorts of, here are all the placards up here. This EMD locomotive conforms to the US EPA regulations. Has 16 cylinders, 3,000 horsepower. Manufactured in September of 1973. This was when 3220 was built. There's the oil filters inside here. And up there's the whole big deal right up there. That's the cab where the engineer sits up there and he drives the train. Here are all the steps here. You can take a look at the steps. They have holes in the steps for rain drainage. It has a watch your step sign up there. They're very dangerous when you climb up these steps. I've been on them plenty of times. And there are all sorts of brake hoses here. They're the MU hoses. Then you've got, I don't know what, that's an electrical connection that's right up here. And all sorts of cool stuff out here. And here's the old N&W depot, which is now the NS yard office, which is still in use today. See, there's the tag right there, the SD40-2. Let's move down here to 3286. See, there are the shutters up there that the guy can actually adjust to reflect the sun that comes in him and also sees the back end of the train. There's the voltage box, and then also inside is a breaker box, just like a breaker box in your house. There's a fuel meter there that tells you how much fuel is in it, and there's also the fuel cap. And also inside there's a fire extinguisher, and also where the water is being stored for the radiator. Has a couple of maintenance area components of the engines, and here's where they're being coupled. Right there. See, they're the couplers that it feels like holding hands together. When you interlock two hands, it feels like they're just really grabbing each other. And here are the most important hoses. They're the air hoses, which controls the airflow created by the generator, which feeds to the hose. The air pressure goes throughout the train. See if I can get a whole big shot of both of them. Oh yeah, there's 3286 and 3220. Take a look at the horns on top. It is a, let's see, it's a 5-chime horn. It's a 5-horn. It has 5 horns on top, combined as one. See, here are the semaphores right there, which tell the train it tells which main line is clear and which main line you have to wait on for another train. They're on this siding, and when they get off that siding, they can go on the main line and they can do all sorts of switching. It's a small yard west of our location. Take a look at this. These are some of the most common locomotives. After 30 years of service, they're still active on NS's roster and with everybody else. And just note that these locomotives have a rear sander for the rear trucks and a front sander for the front trucks, as you can see there. So ladies and gentlemen, there are your SD40-2s. 16-cylinder engine, 3,000 horsepower. These two were built, this one was built in 1973. This one was probably built around the same time. So ladies and gentlemen, that is your SD40-2s. We'll head back to headquarters and we'll put these videos on FlipShare, and we will see you guys in a little bit. I'm sorry the engines were not started, and we're not very surprised that they are not started because they're waiting on their next assignment. Because when one of these babies start up, it's really good to hear these babies running idle. So, they're your SD40-2s, and we'll see you guys back at headquarters. Alright, go Norfolk Southern. One line, infinite possibilities.